what you would describe as a fantastic chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake?
Slice of chocolate cake.
Oh, geez.
Well, my mom can whatever she makes, so that's once every 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's whatever she makes because it comes back to your childhood.
I'll put a contest out to everyone listening. You try and tell us where the best chocolate cake is, because you're going to have trouble finding it, I bet. It's either going to have too much butter icing, it's going to have too much eggy, fluffy flavoring, it's just going to be designed from a box. But if you're making it from scratch and you use only whole and natural real products, you should come up with something really good. But it takes a little bit of time, to say the least, to make a great chocolate cake, and it's hard to find one today.
How did you initially come to source your chocolate, to find out what chocolate would work for you and Baroness Chocolate?
Research, and I gotta say, thank God for the web. I mean, it made life so much easier because I would still be on the road traveling if I had to.
Which wouldn't be so bad, but
not so bad, but maybe a different life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent a huge amount of time reading every chocolate aficionado's blog, book, write-ups to understand what they thought was the best chocolates, and then I went out and sought to taste them. Whether I agreed with them or not is separate. I followed what they were saying first to get an understanding of what they were looking for. And then I started putting my own sensibilities forward of what I liked and started blending them. But it took a while. The longer I investigated the chocolate, whether I was learning about Chua, Venezuela, or whether I was learning about chocolate from Cameroon or Sal de Tomé, these wonderful hidden little secret places in the world where these cocoa grew, as much as I learned about it, I started realizing more and more what I liked, what I didn't like in it, and became better educated. And I started meeting better people in the chocolate industry. The more you went for purity, the more you found someone who was ethically committed to finding and create something great. So one of the things I learned was about fermentation of chocolate. And most people don't even know chocolate's fermented.
No.
Right? So coffee, we all know coffee pretty well. It's very popular. The bean is inside the fruit. It's taken out. It's dried. They roast it. We grind it. We get a cup of coffee. Okay?
Yeah.
Chocolate, the beans in the fruit, it's dried. But then what they do is they dig a hole 5 feet by 5 feet, 3 feet deep. They lay it with banana leaves. They take the fruit, the flowers of the region, and they throw that in the hole. They take the dried beans. They throw that on top of the fruit. They take more fruit and the cocoa pods and other fruits nearby and throw it on top of that, and they cover it with the beans. What happens over the next 24 hours is that the biomatter breaks down. The temperature changes inside that hole, and it elevates to 47, 48 degrees Celsius, and fermentation begins. The bacteria grows. The bacteria breaks down the amino acids and impedes the enzymes, which then flavors the cocoa bean. You don't ferment, no flavor of cocoa.
Huh.
Right?
Interesting.
Funny thing, people say raw chocolate. Well, if you don't ferment, you don't have cocoa. So there's no such thing as raw chocolate. And if you try to ferment and not roast afterwards, you might as well kill somebody. Because the bacteria will, without a doubt, kill somebody. Now, 1 day fermentation, that's Hershey's. 2 days Cadbury, 3 days, that's Lindt. 5 days, you get the best, exquisite, regional, plantation-based origin. Because it's labor intensive. Instead of just leaving the hole, every day you got to lift all the biomatter that's there, replace it with new biomatter, because you don't want rot on rot. You just want fresh fermentation.
Yeah.
So I happen to find some exquisite, obsessive, compulsive people fermenting for 10 days.
Wow.
Well, the second thing that happens in fermentation is that in the bean, you lose the flavor of tannins. The enzymes break down the tannins. And what makes something woody, heavy, or bitter is the tannin from the plant.
Huh.
So by fermenting it longer, you have no tannins. So in my dark chocolate, you almost have no bitterness. You guys tasted that?
Yeah. And so I think some people might try it and go, "That's not dark chocolate," because you might get that, right?
But you do have that very, very deep cocoa flavor, right? And if you ate the chocolate more than a few minutes ago, but it's still in your gums, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sense of having a real pure cocoa flavor. It stays with you. It's not like one of those dry beers that the moment you sucked it down, it's gone, right?
Yeah. So this sounds like a pretty extensive process that obviously is outsourced. This isn't something that could ever be done locally, I'm assuming. Then,
well,
right?
we don't grow the plant here either.
Yeah, but I mean, like even, I guess it wouldn't be worth it monetary-wise to try to set up like hydroponically grow things or something like that, as opposed to paying shipping costs, right?
Well, the cocoa plant is a leech on a rainforest tree.
Oh, okay.
So a banana tree isn't actually a tree; it's a plant too.
Yeah.
Right. Now, and it creates a little pod at the end. You cut the pod, and then later on, the fruit comes out of that banana tree. Well, a cocoa plant tree, if you will, grows their pods off the body almost like warts. Right?
Oh,
so
really?
if you ever seen the big on a tree, and it's not doing well in Canada, you see these big mushrooms growing off the side.
Yeah.
Well, that would, if it was more of a shape of a pod, that's how you see cocoa.
Oh, cool.
It goes off right from the there's no branch. It goes right from the body of the tree. But that root system, it connects to a mother plant. Sort of like a cheap maple grows off of a mother maple, and you have to kill it sometimes because they'll be too weak. And, well, these don't. They have to grow off the other plant. And they need a big canopy, so they're in the rainforest. And so cocoa comes from South America, but there was 2 or 3 types. They migrated, and everyone grew them everywhere else and grew industries. So they're from Indonesia throughout Africa. In fact, 70% of the world's cocoa now comes from Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, and it's a very different nature. But the plant itself, even though there might be 2 or 3, specific types of cocoa plant, what happens on a plantation is that the cocoa trees cross-hibernate.
Okay.
Not hibernate, cross-pollinate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And so that they actually end up with, there's 3 types of standard beans, types of cocoa, but in a plantation, there'd be 40, 50 different types that have happened. So when you take all the beans together, that's the flavor you get. It's a very unique industry.
Wow,
crazy.
very in-depth, and people love when they hear about a company that is passionate and understands as much as what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping to do today is get people to go, wow, when they see a Baroness chocolate bar at Loblaws, or hopefully somewhere else soon, in many other places, they'll go, wow, that was made with love and passion, right?
It really was. The people who grow the trees, grow the plants, are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation, if not longer. Mm-hmm. The people who pick the 100% zero defect beans, I could never do it. They're lifers. Their children are lifers. They've been doing, again, that is what they've been doing generation after generation. The guy who conches or blends the chocolate we'll call masters. Those scientists and those bodies are doing it. It is generation after generation after generation with hundreds of years imposed. When I went to the industry, I said, am I going to be a bean to bar, roaster, concher, do all those things? I said, no, there's guys who are going to do that much better.
Been doing it for a while.
I'd be better off being more of a Chianti winemaker who says, I'm not actually going to grow one vineyard of wine grapes and make my own bottle, but I'm going to buy from 18 different vineyards and then blend them together and create this very complex, dynamic, alive.
Fine, you're doing. Oh, that's nice.
Now, are all those suppliers, are they pretty particular with who they provide their product to? Like,
No.
if Hershey comes in and says, I want to buy your chocolate, they say, sure. If you come in, they're like, sure. It doesn't really matter?
Nope.
Okay. That's good.
I mean-
I know with coffee beans, I think we talked about that with Bridgehead,
Yes.
that some of the coffee growers were pretty particular about who they were supplying to or whatnot. I just was curious if, cocoa products were similar or not.
I think that there is so little available of my rare chocolate, and my chocolate that I buy and blend is so darn expensive that I don't really have much fear that other people get into
I guess that
or
pretty much
compete with it.
partitions the market right there.
Plus, we are a certified kosher, organic, fair trade company that has about 14 types of certificates of purity to our product. It's nuts. I spent most of last year filling out paperwork and forms and going through more audits than and inspectors coming into this facility monthly basis. The big manufacturing doesn't want to get into that.
Wow.
Right? I know the water that went and how clean it was at the plantation to every vehicle that carried it and everyone who touched it on the flow ID right to me and to the store. Right. So I have to provide absolute backup evidence to every detail of every part of our...
We're not going to be cutting many corners with all that.
We're really transparent about where we get our sugars, where we get our chocolates, because, I can tell everybody what we're doing, and I doubt anyone's going to do as much as we have to do.
No, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, listen to Jen from Foodie Prince, and then we're going to listen to one more song from Bearings. This one is Dead Weight. And then we'll be right back with Billy, and we're going to talk about where you can find these chocolates, a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign, because that's interesting as well. Thanks so much, Billy. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Nick and Andrew. Here are my top picks for this weekend. So once again, at the top of my list is Winterlicious in the Market. If you haven't had a chance to dine out yet in the Broward Market, you have until this Sunday, March 8th, as it will be the last day of Winterlicious. To check out the participating restaurants and their special menus, you can go to www.winterliciousinthemarket.com. Last week, I had also mentioned the 11th annual Care for Chocolate competition. It's an annual and very popular fundraiser for Care for. Care for is a nonprofit organization that supports, or I should say, provides services and support for families who have loved ones suffering from Alzheimer's or various forms of dementia. Your ticket includes a buffet brunch, chocolate desserts, and of course, there is a chocolate competition from 9 local catering businesses and restaurants who are competing. The chefs will be competing to win the title of Judge's Choice and the People's Choice. Ticket prices are $75, including a $25 tax receipt for the adults. Children between ages of 4 to 12 tickets are $40, and children under the age of 3 get to go in for free. So go to www.care4.ca/2015-chocolate to purchase your tickets and to see the list of competing chefs. And as of Thursday night, there were fewer than 100 tickets left. Well, my last pick is the secret dinner called The Counter at Lowertown Brewery. If you might remember from last week, I had mentioned that I would be going there to dine. So Dawn and I went there last Saturday night, and as I promised, I am back here today to review it. I thought it was a really fun and inventive evening, and most of the plates were pretty good. It was wonderful to see Chef Kyle Mortimer Prue step out of his regular menu of pub food and really put together something new and very fun dishes. It's a 3-course menu for $30, or at an extra $15 if you want to do a beer pairing. Now, it's best to go with at least one other person, then that way you get to sample all the dishes. So Standout Dishes, for me, I thought my scallop dish was pretty awesome. It was cooked in brisket fat, and it was sitting on a bed of farro and radicchio. And what I loved about this dish was really how succulent my scallop was. Don had a sample of my dish, and while he missed having a seared scallop, I appreciated that it was poached instead. It was perfectly cooked, and the best part was that it was still delicate. But for me, I thought that the best dish of the night was the chef's Scotch Egg. It's actually a tribute to the Scotch Egg served at the Albion Rooms by the chef's good friend, Chef Stephen LaSalle there. I loved how my egg yolk was runny, and it was encased in hot Italian and farmer market sausage, and it was sitting also on a bed of mushrooms on toast. And Don also agreed that Scotch egg was the highlight of our dinner. Now, for a complete review of our dinner and the photos, you can find it at foodieprince.com, and it should be there by the end of the week. If you're interested in the secret dinner, you can go to www.lowertownbrewery.ca and just scroll down to where it states what their business hours are. And directly under it, you'll see this little small black and white photo of the chef's head. So click on it, and then it will take you to a screen asking you for a password. Type in the word rum runner, RUMRUNNER. It's all one word. And from there, you will see the menu for the Friday and Saturday night dinner. The menu changes every week.